$1,000 to $5,000 each just to be in that room and learn the lessons that you're about to learn. But today, you're learning those entirely for free because they're so freaking powerful that I want to share them with you right here, right now. So enjoy. Right now, in 2025, we're in the third wave of wealth creation. Anybody has any idea what the first wave of wealth creation was? How did you create wealth for the first time? Yep. Speak out, come on. Yeah, not bad. That was a little bit later. Yep. Animals, kinda. Yeah, I'm gonna go a little bit more basic. Okay. We're at the three wave. Wealth creation. The first one was government-based. I'm just gonna abbreviate here as gov. That was people like Christopher Columbus, who was basically teaming up with the rich and wealthy elite of Europe, with the kings and queens, and said, hey, I'm gonna go discover some stuff for you, and I'm gonna bring back all my bounty, and we're gonna share the deal. That was government-based wealth creation. That was what year was that, folks? History lessons? Exactly, 1492, I think, something like that. I know this because there's an Austrian beer that was made in the exact same time as Christopher Columbus discovered your beautiful country. Number two, second wave of wealth creation is now we're getting into the infrastructure that you mentioned earlier, and that is where you had the big corporations. That's the Rockefellers. That's people like Colonel Sanders. You built a big, giant corporation with huge overheads, huge staff spending, huge expenses, and you just expanded really, really aggressively and hope that you didn't go bust in the process, and hope that you were making money in decades to come. Right now, we're in the third wave of wealth creation. Anybody has any idea what that is? Just yell it out. AI. Not yet. Almost. AI is more like a helping tool for that. Personal branding. Who said personal branding? My man. There you go. Personal branding. That is the third wave of wealth creation. Who's one of the wealthiest people on earth right now? Mr. Beast. Who here does not know who Mr. Beast is? Guys, literally, if you don't know who Mr. Beast is? Classic Russian. You actually have a Russian equivalent of Mr. Beast. He's literally a guy who speaks Russian, who copies all his videos. One of the wealthiest Russians right now. It's really funny. Mr. Beast is literally a billionaire. How did he become a billionaire? Not by teaming up with any sort of government. Not by creating a fucking corporation. He's a billionaire for creating YouTube videos. How fucking crazy is that? He doesn't have a business degree, didn't go to Harvard, didn't know the right people, literally just started making videos. By the way, let me know if the sound is cool. I don't want to make it fucked up or anything. He literally started making videos from his mom's basement, like from his actual mom's basement. He started going viral with videos like, I'm gonna count to 10,000, or what was it? What was one of the first videos? I think he counted to 1,000 or 10,000. It was just like a 6-hour video of him like 1, 2, 3, 4, all the way to 10,000. Then he got viral again by saying subscribe to PewDiePie for like 1,000 times or something like that. So there was no budget involved, no team involved, nothing. Just him and his iPhone shooting YouTube videos. And it's funny because Marcel introed me a little bit earlier, and for all of those who were here yesterday, I'm gonna give you a quick background on my story, just real quick crash course. Don't worry, it's not gonna be too detailed. I grew up in a 5,000 people cow town in the middle of the Austrian Alps. You basically had two options there, to either become a farmer or a carpenter. I didn't like any of these choices because I kind of felt like there's got to be more to life. So actually, initially, I wanted to become a rock star. That was like my idea. I was like, if I can be a rock star, I can travel the world, make millions of dollars, and inspire people. It was these three things, right? Traveling the world, make millions of dollars, and inspire people. So I started playing guitar. Wanted to become a heavy metal guitarist. I practiced every single day until one day I woke up in Vienna. I lived in Vienna to study, and I got tendonitis. Anybody any idea what tendonitis is? Is when the tendons that connect your lower arm muscle with your fingers are getting inflamed and you can't really move your finger. fingers anymore, meaning which is basically a death sentence for anybody that wants to play guitar. So all doctors basically told me I could never ever play guitar anymore, which by the way I can now, which is no problem, but that was pretty much a dream buster for me. I couldn't make my dream come true. And then funny enough, when I started working on my awkwardness and my social weirdness, I started posting about it on a forum on the internet back then in Germany, in a German-speaking forum, and I just started posting about, you know, my journey of getting out of my shell, talking to someone that was intimidate me, talking to a pretty girl that I met at university, and I would just started posting my lessons there. And then at some point, people started asking me if I would do coaching, and that's how I kind of started with my very first business. I started charging $150 per day, coaching someone an entire day in overcoming, you know, their social fears, getting out of their shell, and teaching them kind of like emotional understandings, emotional calibration, and so on and so forth. And what happened back then, that was 2011, I started building what we now call a micro brand. Who here does not know what a micro brand is? It's totally cool if you have no clue. Okay, well guess what? It's like a brand, like a Mr. Beast brand, but on a tiny, tiny scale. So instead of having millions of subscribers, I had like maybe 200 people that would go onto the forum and would read my forum posts. But the cool thing about that micro brand was it was very niche specific, because it was targeting young men in their 20s who were socially awkward, who wanted to improve their dating life, right? So instead of a Mr. Beast video that kind of targets everyone, everybody likes watching Mr. Beast videos, it was targeting a small subset of people where I said, okay, you are in your early 20s and you want to work on your dating life. So even though I only had 200, 300 people reading my stuff, I was still able to make money from that because it was a very hyper-specific niche brand, a little bit of a micro brand, as we say. And from there on, I started making a couple $1,000s a month, which as a student was insane. It was like way more money than I would have ever thought I'd make, especially because my goal was to become a guitarist. So way more money than I'd ever thought. And then what happened was, this really big organization based in LA called Real Social Dynamics, it was back then the biggest company for dating advice and personal development advice. They had a bunch of free jobs that they always offered, and I took all of the free jobs. They had like all these unpaid internships. I took all of them, and I just worked for them for free because it was all about giving value. If you remember, first rule of money making from yesterday, anybody remembers? Create value. Yes, money follows value. So that was kind of like my idea, just give as much value as possible. So I gave a shit ton of value to these guys until they started inviting me to come to Miami. I'll never forget this fateful phone call. It was a phone call I received that said, Max, can you come to Miami? I'm like, come to Miami? I'm in Austria. Miami is like a crazy city I only know from Hollywood movies. Like, what are you talking about? And they said, well, can you come to Miami tomorrow to come help out and work for free as an unpaid intern? Lo and behold, I'm not gonna go too much into details. I said yes to that. I borrowed $16,000 from my parents, from my best friend, from my brother, and from my bank to be on that flight 2 weeks later to work entirely for free for 6 months. Why did I work for free for 6 months? Because I knew the value I would receive back from the value I give is going to be cash flow positive eventually. Because I'll literally be working with someone that is doing the exact same thing that I want to do. I would be the personal assistant of someone named Owen Cook, who's traveling the world making a shit ton of money and inspiring people, and he's getting paid for that. So I said, if I can be this guy's personal assistant, I'm going to pick up so much knowledge about brand building, about money making, about being free and living that freedom lifestyle. I don't care if I don't get paid for 6 to 12 months, because I'll get paid in knowledge. And I can use that knowledge to build something forever. And I said this yesterday too. Knowledge stacks up. This right here is day one of this wonderful Limitless event, right? We're going to give you a lot of knowledge today. We're going to give you more tomorrow, and then even more tomorrow. And then over time, it will stack up. It's literally the best investment you could ever make. By the way, who here invested in Bitcoin? Who here holds Bitcoin? Not a lot of people. Okay. Who here invested in Bitcoin before 2017? Okay. How early? 16. Nice. You in the back? 2013. Nice. That was like at like 2K or something? Beautiful. I bought Bitcoin in 2016-17 at 8K, and I thought I was late. I actually bought like 100K worth of Bitcoin back then from my first seminars that I held. Because I just had all this money laying around. I'm like, fuck it, let's put it into Bitcoin. Never really looked at my portfolio ever since then. I still have it all. But it was kind of like a cool, weird time to be able to invest in these kind of things, because I said, sure, the Bitcoin investment is cool, and I think the portfolio is well over $1 million now, but what's making me much more money is the knowledge that I've acquired over the last years, because that stacks up much more. It has much more of a multiplying effect than Bitcoin. The reason why I'm telling you all this is because I want you to understand the importance of personal branding. So I went from unpaid intern with 200 people that look at my little fucking forum posts to a 300,000 subscriber YouTube channel back in 2015. And those weren't just any subscribers, those were die-hard subscribers. In fact, it got so crazy that it actually got so bad that I had to move out of Europe, because everywhere I went,